Are you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Roush will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush, here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies on how to master that sales conversation. And today is a special episode because it's an on-air coaching call with one of the beloved Sales Maven Society members, Casey Gromer. Casey, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello, Nikki, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here today.
Well, I'm so excited for people to get to know about you and your business. So tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Thanks for asking. I call myself a fractional CMO. And for those who aren't familiar with more of a corporate marketing setting, CMO is a Chief Marketing Officer. And I started practicing as a fractional CMO when I left corporate, and I recognized a gap in the market for small businesses who were in need of more of a strategic level of marketing support. So where they've kind of surpassed the just go and do stuff to we need to be smarter about where we're spending our money and what we're doing with our marketing to not only bring in new leads, but also to support that whole sales process where marketing can be a tool. And so what a fractional CMO does for small businesses is comes into your business on an as needed basis to offer that strategic support. And it saves the small businesses from having to spend money they probably don't have on a full-time professional level marketing person.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so just for the listeners and maybe for me too, what would be an example of like one project or something that you would strategically help a small business accomplish or do?
If it's okay with you, I have two quick examples I
Perfect.
can share that most clients are finding beneficial. And the first one is strategic planning. So a lot of businesses are putting together maybe an annual or a quarterly plan for their teams. If you're not, I highly suggest you look into doing this. It's incredibly important.
Yeah.
So from my part, I can either come in and sit in those strategic planning sessions to make sure your marketing plan is represented and you're headed in the right direction in terms of your marketing, or I can help you host a separate strategic planning session specifically for marketing, where we can take your annual plan and translate that into activities and budgets and metrics that make the most sense to execute so your marketing is aligned with your entire vision for your whole business. So that's one example. And a second example is that once you have that plan completed, I can actually come in on a regular basis. And for you, whether that's quarterly, monthly, weekly, or daily, to lead your teams and make sure that they are staying focused and accountable and that issues are getting resolved and questions are getting answered, where the owner of the business or someone else on the leadership team who doesn't have a marketing background can get out of that day-to-day of the marketing and leave it to someone who they can trust to help them make decisions and be the point of contact.
Awesome. Those are awesome examples. Thank you for sharing. I think that will help at least clarify in my mind and hopefully in some of the listeners' minds of how somebody could really utilize you for what you do. And so important. I know in my own business, some of the best decisions that I've made have been bringing experts in to do things that are just not my skill set, but that have really helped elevate my business. So I could see where you would be such a great asset to any small organization or small company that really needs to be more strategic with their marketing. So love it.
Thank you. And it's a great time right now to consider doing. Years ago, this option or opportunity, it didn't exist on the level it does today. So now we have this opportunity to add experts to our teams while not necessarily paying them to be a full-time employee. So you're really building these teams and utilizing people in their unique ability, and supporting you in that manner without gouging your budget or
Right.
impacting your bottom line.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Okay. Well, since this is an on-air coaching call today, let me ask you, how can I serve you today? What would be something that would be useful for you as you are growing your business?
Thank you. I have been working really hard over the past year on building my network of the right people, and I have been doing a decent job at that. So I have decided that I would like to focus or niche specifically on a group of businesses that are running on a system or a framework called the Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Mm-hmm.
Many of your listeners may already be familiar, but if in case they're not, there's a book out there called Traction by Gino Wickman, and they can look into EOS as it's called for short. So I've been connecting with a group of people called implementers, and an implementer is a consultant that will come into a small business and help them implement the framework of EOS into their business. So they're a great connection for me because they know which businesses are already running on this framework and they can make a connection. They also have insight to the business to see where there might be a gap in marketing, and they know that their clients need some extra marketing support, and so they can make that connection for me. There's two things I feel like I'm missing right now, and that is creating curiosity in that group of implementers and giving them a reason to want to ask about more, or giving that, I'm not doing very good at opening those conversations right now and doing that. And the same thing goes for, as I'm starting to connect with other companies who are running on EOS, I am not doing very well at creating curiosity with them either, and opening a conversation or opening an opportunity for us to chat further about their needs. I am not making that transition very well.
Okay. So how do these people, I have a couple questions for you, and then I have some ideas, some suggestions. Yeah. So how does one become an implementer? Is it a certification program?
Yes, it is. It's actually a pretty expensive and extensive certification program. So these implementers are extremely talented at what they do, and they're very well supported by their network of other implementers.
Okay. So do they have any type of networking or community or association?
They do. There is a whole EOS community. So they're all they all pay money to be part of this EOS community. There's a couple of different annual conferences. I'm also in a group called the Female Integrator Mastermind, and all of the members of that mastermind are businesses running on EOS.
Okay. And so if you're an implementer and they have access to these businesses, you always want to ask the question, like, how will this benefit them by bringing you in? What are they going to get out of it? So do you know the answer to that yet?
What they get out of it is being that extra level of support for their clients, because most of the time, their clients are relying on these implementers as a business strategist. So oftentimes these implementers are going in and conducting these annual planning sessions. So if the implementer is in a place where they can recognize gaps in that business, so they're the ones that can say, hey, I think, maybe there's a gap in your marketing. And so they can say, I know somebody who you can talk to see if it's a good fit. And so it's adding that extra level of support, because the implementer won't go in and do the marketing. But if they can connect the company to me and improve that company's bottom line through improving their marketing, then they can be seen as a full service resource.
Okay. So kind of bringing this back to curiosity, ideas that I have for you, which I'm going to say right off the bat, this is a planting seeds exercise. Anything that involves creating curiosity is a planting seeds exercise. And it might take some time, but I do think in the long run, it will be a good use of your efforts. So I would go about creating your Strive 5 list of these implementers. And I've never talked about the Strive 5 list on the podcast before. So just really quickly, I think, Casey, you know what the Strive 5 list is. Is that?
I do know. And okay. I haven't done that yet.
Okay, well that's okay.
I have a Strive 100 list, but I don't have my Strive 5 list.
So Strive 5 list for the listener who maybe hasn't heard me talk about it before. And I know Casey's heard me talk about it before, but that's okay. That just because you hear somebody talk about something doesn't mean that you have applied it necessarily to each and every situation, right? So in this particular case, a Strive 5 list would be you coming up with a list of 5 people who are implementers in this case that you feel like have opportunity that you could really serve and be a resource to them because they're out working with the companies that you want to work with. Right? Now, how do you find those 5 people? You're going to have to get creative. You might have to be asking your network, but dream big in your Strive 5 list and who goes on that list, these 5 people. And then the idea is to really ask yourself, what do you need to do or where do you need to show up so that you can start to really build relationship? And the relationship piece has to come first before you go into sales mode or pitch mode, but really build the relationship with those people because relationships open doors. And once you've got some know, like, and trust factor with them, it's easier for you to start to ask about coming in as their marketing expert, right? So I would say start with your Strive 5 and build relationship. Now you could have a Strive 10 or 20, but the Strive 5 are the real big, like the big dream, the people that you're like, man, if I had this person on Voxer with me, like I would feel like I've really hit a home run. Like dream big with the Strive 5 list and be strategic on how do you put yourself, like where are they showing up? How can you start engaging with them in some way? It could be that you go see, have they been on a podcast recently? Go listen to the podcast, reach out to the person and share with them what you got out of the podcast and just, start engaging with them on social media. Like start letting your name be seen over and over with them. And then at some point, it might make sense for you to ask them if they would get on a connection call with you. Like, could we spend 15 minutes getting to know each other? I would love to get to know you more and see if there's some way that I could be a resource to you in some way. I create Strive 5 lists for a lot of different things. So if I'm going to go to an event, I have a Strive 5 list of who are the 5 like people that I want to ensure that I make connections with. And I go out of my way to put myself in situations where I look to see where are they sitting at lunch and can I go sit at the table or sit next to them or, can I sit next to them at the conference or whatever it is, can I go and start a conversation with them at the cocktail hour? And as somebody who is shy and as an introvert, it's a stretch for me to do this. But every single time that I do it, like amazing things happen as a result. I went to a conference. Well, you and I went to a conference this last November and I had a Strive 5 list and there was one person on it who I had not had the opportunity. Like every time I would see her, she'd be talking to somebody else. And I just couldn't find that like moment. And then the last day I was up on stage, I was on a panel. And when I came off stage and I came out of the back of the like convention center where we were, she was standing there. And I went right up to her and introduced myself, and she knew who I was because I had just been on stage. And I asked her if we could sit next to each other at lunch, right? Like with no intention of doing anything other than wanting to make a real connection. And now we're in a mastermind together. Like she was like this big, like somebody who felt so outside of my, like she, so far ahead of me in business and elevated. And when I reached out to her and asked her if she was interested in masterminding with me, she was like, heck yeah. And I was shocked. So dream big in your Strive 5 list.
Thank you. And the relationship building part is actually something I'm really good at. And I do have that part. What I haven't done is taken the next step. So now I have the relationships, but I have done nothing to utilize them or to reach out to say, like you said, can we get on a connection call? I have not done that yet. So that's maybe a good idea.
And then when you're on the call,
yes, thank you. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so then work into the conversation. You are somebody who is so well connected with businesses in this area. And I'm just wondering, is there ever an opportunity where you might consider bringing me in as the marketing expert? How can I serve you and your clients in this way? That
is the piece I've been missing. That was amazing. Thank you. I don't know how to so I'm in marketing, not sales. And while marketing and sales are very closely connected, my job in marketing has always been to support sales. So I'm the person that builds the relationships and helps to build the relationships, but sales is the person then that takes and asks those questions. So those are the types of things that I haven't been doing, is the sales piece.
Well, and that's why I do what I do, right? Because everybody, like sometimes when people come to me, they're telling me what they want. And I'm like, that's marketing, that's marketing, that's marketing. What I do is the conversation side of sales. Yes. How do you strategically ask these questions in a way that keeps the rapport intact, allows for the other person to feel really good, doesn't make them feel like, all you're trying to do is sell me. But at the same time, you have to get the words out of your mouth, because if you don't, they won't just come up with it on their own. Right. Now, sometimes they will, but for the most part, they won't, because they're not thinking about you and bringing you in those situations. But when you plant that seed and ask the question, and even if their answer is, I don't know, or I don't have anything right now where this would make sense, that's okay, because you still planted the seed. So next week, when they're in a meeting and somebody mentions like, we need somebody who can come in and help implement or really kind of keep marketing moving forward, you are going to be the person who pops up in their mind. And now here's this opportunity. So these planting seeds opportunities are so important, and they don't always feel like anything happens, but I have so many examples of clients who will be able to say to me 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the road, wow, look at all this business that came in, and it's all from these little planting seed type conversations.
Yes, I love that. So may I ask another question now? Do we have time for that?
Okay. We do.
So I have the same question then. So I'm only just now starting to connect with the actual client directly. So, or the potential client, I guess you could say. So I'm figuring out who these businesses are that are using this framework, EOS, and I'm starting to, find reasons to connect with them in a relationship way. So recognizing some accolade that they've just received or something, and then connecting with them. And I learned from you how to do that in a way that keeps rapport. But now that I've got the connection with them, I'm starting to build those relationships. It feels like I'm more uncomfortable in this situation asking for that connection call, or asking for the next step. Do you have advice for once you have the connection and you're starting to build a relationship, how do you kind of help it along a little bit to see if there's opportunity there?
So one of the ways is by asking questions. So questions are super powerful. And oftentimes, instead of ever going into like pitch mode, which I don't necessarily recommend, is you ask questions and you're strategic about your questions. So in that reach out to them, you might ask a question around, how has been implementing your strategic marketing plan going for you this year? Are you getting the results that you had hoped for? Is there anything that I could offer that would support you right now to ensure implementation of said plan? And you might need to say, when you ask a question like that, is there anything that I could offer right now to help implement said plan? You might have to say, for instance, and then give some bulleted point, like, could I help you with this area or this area or this area or this area? Like, we have to plant some seeds in their minds too, because it's too much to ask them to come up with like, well, I don't know what I need help with.
Right. Or I think for in my particular position, the quote title I've created for myself is not very well understood. And so these types of businesses have no idea what, like if I say I'm a fractional CMO, they don't, in their minds, they have no idea what that means or how I might even begin to help them. So I like that the for instance, planting seeds.
And then you ask if they're interested in hopping on a quick Zoom call with you to talk about additional ways that you could be a resource to them in their organization. And then you give the 3 times. I know you know this from me because I preach this inside the society constantly.
And, I have to tell you, Nikki, you're getting around because I received an email this morning, in fact, with almost your words, almost verbatim, with the 3 times at the bottom of my email. And I'm like, yes, this person knows what they're doing. And it makes it easy to respond. So,
okay, so somebody sent you an email asking you and giving you the 3 times. Congratulations to that person. Yes, I love it. And I love that you recognized like, oh, they're implementing, because doesn't it make it so much easier for you to look at your schedule and go, yes or no?
Yes.
Right? That's all we're trying to do is make it easy for people to make a decision.
Yes.
So that's what I would do as far as your reach outs for these companies. And so you don't need a lot of fluff. You don't need a lot of like, I'm so awesome and here's my bio. And you don't need all that in the message. It's more around, is this something that would serve you right now? How's it been going? Here are some ways, for instances of ways that I could be a resource. Are you interested in having a conversation? It's a yes or no. And just even if it's a no, it's usually a no for now, but it still have planted a seed that 6 months down the road when they're like, our marketing is a mess, we're not getting the ROI that we want, or this plan that we came up with hasn't been implemented. What are we going to do? Oh yeah, I'm thinking about Casey and her business, and maybe we should be bringing her in. Maybe I should just do a strategy session with her or something to get them going, right?
Yep. Yes. Which is an option, by the way.
yeah, it is. Okay, good. You feeling good about this?
I am. And every time I talk to you, I just feel you make it seem, not even just seem, but you make it actually easy. So I feel more confident about doing this and actually executing on what you tell me after we've talked. So I appreciate that. That's so helpful.
Well, you know that I often refer to you as one of my implementers because you are a phenomenal implementer. I would say #implementers get result. Casey Gromer gets results. You and I will have a conversation, or I'll offer you some suggestion and you go and implement. You're such a great implementer, and then you see results. So I'm super excited to hear what comes out of these conversations that you're going to be having over the next couple weeks and months. I'm really excited for you.
Well, I will be excited to share because I'm sure I will have some success stories that I can share.
I know you will. I know you will. Okay, good. Well, as we start to wrap this up, I want to thank you again for saying yes to coming and doing this on-air coaching call. And I always like to ask, what has been one benefit for you being a part of the Sales Maven Society?
I have to say that joining a membership group is not my thing. I've tried a few of them and I'm just like, no, this is not for me. But I said yes to Nikki, and it has been one of the best investments I have ever made. And I've told Nikki that she's probably got a lifetime member right here. So the Sales Maven Society is not like one of those Facebook groups that you join that's kind of just willy-nilly posting and there's no value. Nikki, in the Sales Maven Society, Nikki does trainings. So you actually get value from the trainings that you get to attend that come with your membership. And I found those incredible. We get discounts. And so I've been able to join some of Nikki's paid virtual courses. In fact, I just finished one a couple of months ago that I'm still working on implementing. But the price that I was able to attend that was just like a no-brainer. Yes. Just for being a part of the society. But the biggest benefit I have gotten is the confidence that I need. So as I am implementing and learning the techniques that Nikki is teaching, I've been able to use the society to post the language of some of the things that I am trying to say to whoever it is I'm connecting with. And Nikki, like almost instantly, I feel like will respond with, she'll actually go in and read every post and read every communication and provide suggestions and edits to make that a more powerful thing. So I would say that is just, you cannot put a price on that.
Thank you. I'm glad we recorded this answer because I'm going to figure out how to use that. That was so great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, more importantly, let's talk about how people can get a hold of you, because there's probably listeners out here who definitely need to connect with Casey and could benefit from your services. So how can people reach out to you?
Thanks for asking. I wish that I was farther along because I would have had a fabulous masterclass to share with your audience, but I am not ready with it yet. So in the meantime, I do all of my connecting and put all of my content on LinkedIn. And I've just started doing videos today, in fact. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Casey Gromer, Gromer. And I do have a website that goes over all of the ways that I said that I initially support people. It gives my website at wavemarketing.net, not .com, but .net. And you can find examples of other clients that I'm working with and ways that you can be supported with your marketing.
Okay, so wavemarketing.net as well as Casey Gromer on LinkedIn. These are the ways to connect. These will be in the show notes for you. So go connect with Casey. She is a wealth of knowledge. You are extremely generous with your knowledge. You are such a contributor inside the group. And we just love having you there. And I'm so grateful that you continue to just show up and participate continuously. So thank you for that. And I just want to leave today with this, I cannot say enough how amazing Casey is at implementing. So I'm going to leave today with the hashtag implementers get results. Go out, implement the things that you heard today. One thing, just implement one thing, and you will see how this will impact your business 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. And of course, I want to hear from you as you have those. Casey, thank you so much for saying yes and being here today.
Thank you, Nikki. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.